big tech is wild because you can't criticize AI in your workplace. Like, we're all supposed to talk about it like it's the best thing ever, even if it's not turning a profit. This is what I call in the unwritten rules of work, the unwritten rule of compliance, and it's common in many industries. But I'm reading right now about how this has been especially a problem in tech, and it is fucking with our economy. I'm Dr. Kalshma. I research the unwritten rules of work for the working class, and the unwritten rule of compliance is one of the unwritten rules that is the most dangerous. And in my upcoming book, that was the chapter that was the hardest to narrow down which case study to use because they're not sparse. The unwritten rule of compliance is when you are not allowed to speak up, even if it's in your area of expertise, even if they ask you, but the unwritten rule is that you're supposed to agree with them no matter what. This has been the rule behind fatal disasters, as well as losing billions of dollars. Nobody is omniscient, so turning down other people's input, especially when they are experts and you hired them to align with your company's mission, is a fool's errand. Now, I shared a few days ago that I'm reading The Cult of We, the book about the WeWork and what went wrong there. And they talk a lot about, the sus things Adam Neumann did, but they also talk a lot about how deeply tech venture capital in the 1990s and continuing has no clear criteria for what they're looking for, goes a lot on unwritten rules and just, I find this person charming and they've convinced me, and just throwing tons of money at things to the point where it used to be that startups got 2 to 3 rounds of funding and then they had to go public. When you go public, you have to release your financials and show the risk and the benefits for people to buy. But this venture capitalists, so greed driven by the success of Facebook and early Google, just started throwing so much money at these early companies that they could go far longer without going public. So these problems kept festering. They were never having to turn a profit. They just had the same cultural problems, the same product or services problems, that without the accountability of the public, because that makes the founder's life much easier. They can still do what they want to do, build their business, often have a lot of money, and they don't have the public scrutiny of being public and dealing with the press and people's questions and the public stakeholders. And all they had to do, according to this book, is have a CEO charming enough to convince the venture capitalists that one day it will be profitable. And you end up with shocking situations that shouldn't be that shocking to anyone paying attention to that, like WeWork, where it's a fucking scam. Why was that company evaluated at such insane amounts of billions of dollars when it was really just another real estate company? Because some venture capitalists got talked into it by Adam Neumann because he was very tall and very charming. And it seems we are seeing these same problems with AI, of that it's not turning the profit that it said it would. It's not being as impactful in business as it said it would. 95% of AI implementation in workplaces is not working. I just got an email from Bloomberg this morning talking about how all of our power bills in the US are about to go way more expensive from how much energy these data centers are requiring. So they're making the money and we're paying more of the expenses per usual. And it's maddening because it's at what point do we learn from our mistakes? Mistakes happen. Mistakes are always going to happen. But at what point are we this ain't working? This ain't working. Unwritten rules are dangerous. They are social class gap wideners, and they are often only profitable in the very short term. And while there are many avenues for improvement, one of them is cultural, and that is that these venture capitalist firms and these big tech places, if they have the unwritten rule of compliance, they are charging straight into the same problems, building these bubbles and soaring straight to the top where it's gonna burst. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, you want to learn more, join my school linked in my bio. It's where I do all of my courses and I have weekly group coaching. If you want to ask me about your situation one-on-one, you can book some time on my calendar. The first 20 minutes are free and one-on-one coaching is available for purchase. If you want to test the waters first, I recommend joining my Thursday call in my school community where you can learn from other people, network, and ask me questions live. Leave a comment if you'd like to see a video about a particular topic or a course in my school.